Are you tired of AAA FPS games being the same stuff every single year? Do you want to try out something new instead of the copy and paste realistic extraction shooters? And are you tired of battle bosses and microtransactions? Then you came to the right place, as today I wanna go over 3 indie FPS games which you might have missed, all with a unique art style and premise. All of these games are all about speed and are fast paced, so please keep that in mind if you have any issues with flashing images, etc. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Do you remember Wipeout? Have you ever thought to yourself, wow, this looks so goddamn easy, I could do so much better? Well, now's your chance. In Jetrunner, you join a jetrunning aka speedrunning competition and your goal is to beat everybody else's time. The game describes itself as Trackmania meets Titanfall, as the game is all about being fast and practicing specific routes, but it also gives you a bunch of different movement abilities. In just the demo, you get to do stuff like slides, dashes, super high jumps, these dash punches, using a bomb to boost yourself, and punching walls to boost yourself. The levels are designed well in my opinion, they flow well and they allow shortcuts, and essentially learning different shortcuts and how to make most of the movement abilities is actually the key to being fast. In that sense, it kinda reminds me of Neon White. It has some similarities, but not every single speedrunning game is a Neon White clone. So just keep that in mind before you're gonna be like, this game is just Neon White, but it has a woman as a main character. I was honestly surprised when I found out that the game has voice acting, which makes the characters a lot more human and also more distinct. The only issue with this is that the characters talk over as you play instead of being some kind of cutscene or whatever.
Hello? Nina? Are you there?
You made it! Which can get a bit distracting. You know, you can't really play and make sure you're playing as fast as you can while listening to the story. Although most of your first runs are gonna be test runs. The first attempt, right? This is your first attempt, you're not gonna be fast. So maybe this decision makes sense, but it was a little bit distracting sometimes. One thing which I really like about this game are the graphics. It has these cel-shaded graphics, and occasionally you get these comic book pop-ups which make it a lot more charming. And since the graphics aren't too demanding, it makes the game more accessible and also gives you more FPS. Overall, I'd say you should try out the demo and see if you like the game, and keep in mind that this game costs only 20 euros, which makes it a lot more affordable. Just keep in mind that your character can carry a lot of momentum and that might mess up one of your rounds. Just keep that in mind and don't end up like me. Next up, we have Force Reboot, which came out all the way back in 2022. It describes itself as a non-stop fast-paced FPS with roguelite elements. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like roguelites. The idea of replaying the same stuff over and over and over, just with different weapons, sounds a little bit tedious. But maybe it's just me being tired of roguelites in general. The entire point of the game is to go through different rooms, eliminate all of the enemies, and move on to the next one. The movement is pretty simple, unlike Jetrunner. You only have dashes and slides. As it is a roguelite or an FPS with roguelike elements, it's more about your ability to clear these rooms. The game offers a few different weapons to use, like the SMG or actually your own fists. And I just can't overlook the graphics, they're just so cool to look at and honestly super unique. You might think that it potentially could be difficult to see anything with these pixels, but it actually is pretty clear when you play the game. You could maybe say that the graphics are inspired by Ultra Kill, since it is retro and pixelated, and overall I think that this game draws some inspiration from Ultra Kill, but not every single pixelated first-person shooter is an Ultra Kill copy, you know? Since it is a roguelite, you have a buff and a debuff system, you do get 3 options and you have to choose the lesser evil for you. For instance, I don't mind losing HP if I can shoot more frequently or deal more damage. Some are silly, like these little enemies one, and some are just OP, like dual guns, and some are just straight up fun, like the fists. However, there is one issue with my review, and that's the fact that I played the itch.io version, which is kind of like a demo. They didn't have a demo on Steam, but from the gameplay I saw from others, the game is actually far more advanced now than the itch.io demo is. So just keep that in mind before you're gonna be like, oh, this game has 0 features. It's because I was playing the outdated version. Ever since then, the game has received a bunch of different updates. However, most of them are pretty small, and that is because the developer themselves has stated that they do not really have the energy to finish Force Reboot anymore, but they do update it every once in a while, so don't worry, you are not exactly buying a dead game if you buy this. To sum up, I'd say the game is really addictive. I find myself playing this game between my editing breaks. The gameplay is fast and the visuals are really neat. I love these slightly pixelated visuals type games. I'm not really into pixel art, but this is fine. In my opinion, it blends the boomer shooter-esque gameplay with roguelite elements pretty well. Just go ahead and try this one out. It's literally €3 on Steam. Again, remember that I played just the demo because I wanted to only play the demos to give each game a fair chance. But again, the Steam version is actually far more ahead than the itch.io one, so keep that in mind. And if you thought that the previous game kinda looked like Ultra Kill, then wait until you see this one. This is Reaver, an ultra fast-paced first-person shooter that gives you mobility and weapon mechanics to reave through arenas of enemies. That's what the Steam description says. You can tell that this is inspired by Ultra Kill, but that doesn't mean that it is a ripoff or something. A lot of people in the review section on Steam are saying that the relationship between Ultra Kill and Reaver is like Doom and Quake. Both are very similar and yet different at the same time. It does its own unique things like the art style, crazy movement and weapon combos. Just like in Jetrunner, you can pick up some crazy momentum which sends you flying all over the place. The gameplay is full of non-stop action. You can pull off many cool tricks and combos, and when you slam the ground, the dead bodies bounce up as well. Anytime you land a headshot, you spin your gun around, and that just adds to the cool factor of this game. I genuinely felt like the most badass person ever when pulling off different tricks. My one gripe with this game are the combos actually. I find it a weird decision that you have to press specific combinations to do stuff like ricochet shots. Why not just give us a separate keybind or something? Also, specifically for the shotgun, there is something called enraged mode, where you just go full crazy with it, but the rage mode is only for the shotgun. You also get an assault rifle later on, and the rage mode does nothing. Instead, you have to press the Alt-Far button to dual wield it. Why not just make it the rage mode as well? I don't know. I just find it an odd decision to have this disparity between pretty similar features. The weapons themselves are okay, the best one obviously being the revolver. For some reason you hold the shotgun in the middle. It also has this weird floaty kind of feel to it. But these are just my nitpicks, they are not exactly that serious. Obviously the first thing you see is the art style. It is this combination of low poly environments and neon wireframe looking weapons and sometimes unreadable text. In my opinion, the art style actually works pretty well, even though at first glance it might clash a bit. As someone whose eyes get tired pretty quickly, for instance, I can't play with shaders for too long in Minecraft. This was a slightly demanding game for my eyes. But I believe that it is just kind of something you have to expect when you play a game that looks like this. In the end, I had a lot of fun with Reaver. It is just super satisfying to pull off different trick shots, and you do feel like a badass when playing this. Visually, it is on the more noisy side of things, but in my opinion, it adds to the uniqueness of the game. One issue with this game is that it seems to be in the same boat as Force Reboot. The developers have posted a few different sneak peeks of what they're planning on their Discord server or on their YouTube channel. However, on Steam it says that the last update had been 13 months ago. But I think they're working on it. They have sneak peeks. You have to understand that this is a indie game and there's like 1 or 2 people working on this. But I still recommend playing the demo. You have nothing to lose, and if you like Ultra Kill, then you will probably like this as well. And that is everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, I hope you guys enjoyed the games, and I obviously hope that you might try out any of them. As you can see, this episode was focused on fast-paced first-person shooters. If you have any suggestions, for more games like this, leave them down in the comments section, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!